It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, folks, welcome back. It is Johnny Cash Friday. We've been diving into the news, been pretty focused on one singular story, and here is the man of the hour, or hours. We have Bob Bailey, Republican Senate candidate, District 16 in the special election that's happening on Tuesday. Bob, welcome to the program again.
How you doing, Paul?
I am doing very, very well, and I just want to say, I mean, I hope you've been listening to the show, but I mean, basically, we have been exposing a coordinated attack on you that really is just exposing the establishment. I mean, we thought they were bad, but I mean, they really are really desperate to keep you out of office. So it seems to me.
It does sort of seem that way, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, good grief. I mean, come on. Well, you mentioned the Facebook post yesterday just briefly while you were on the air that you've been getting phone calls about it. And, of course, now, you know, it's coordinated. It's on multiple networks that are different national affiliates here in the state. It just seems like, you know, they are just – I mean, why are they talking about this in Northeast Arkansas, you know, about a special election over in Russellville? It's just, you know, they're trying to paint you as a racist is what they're trying to do. They haven't come out and said that, but that's what they're trying to do. Well, anyway, Bob, are you there? Can you hear me, Bob? Respond to that.
Well, first of all, I'm honored that they would think I'm that important enough to spend that much time and effort on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're certainly over the target because you're taking taking the most flack over this. Let me ask you about this meme. This meme right here. This one is incredible to me because I think it's actually pretty funny. This Henry Cavill Facebook post that you made where you're just saying, you know, I fight crime and injustice, and then at the bottom it says, but I don't go to Pine Bluff. Tell us about that. And didn't your son live in Pine Bluff at the time as a chaplain, and wasn't that directed at him?
Yeah, it actually was. Somebody sent me that, and I posted it up, and I actually wrote it for my son, Rye, who was the on-staff chaplain at Pine Bluff Regional Medical Center, where he learned much and lived through it. That's what that was about. That was actually pulled from a newspaper cartoon, and I don't remember particularly which one it was. Somebody sent it to me, and I posted that up there. I think I posted that up there. I might not have even posted that up there. I can't remember. Well, but anyhow, that's what that was about. Of course, you know, this guy calls me up yesterday. I'm driving down the road, and he says, Mr. Bailey, we have some anonymous Facebook posts that somebody has sent us, and they have questions and concerns about. We would like to come up there and do a live interview. And I said, no, I don't think so, because and I asked him, I said, what possible good could come from me talking to you? And he apologized.
He said what now, Bob? He apologized?
That was December 1st of 2013.
Wow.
So they went back several years in my Facebook to find that, and that's what they came up with. And you know, I told the guy that was interviewing me, I said, really? You guys are really scratching. Is that all you've got? It's a 6-year-old Facebook page?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, that's where they're at.
And it's where you went to high school. And there's nothing. It's just unbelievable, the links that they're going to go to.
Well, you know, if you get on Wikipedia and look up Pekin Shanks or Pekin Community High School, now they did actually change the name back in 1982. The school voted on it, and I was a senior. I remember voting on it. They put it to the students and actually voted the name change down. And then in 1982, the school board decided to go ahead and change it, not put it back to the vote because they didn't think the students would pass it. But they actually did change it in 1982. So when you get on eBay, some of this stuff is not cheap. I mean, it speaks of an era where people weren't so easily offended, you know?
Yeah, people weren't so sensitive, not as many snowflakes and that sort of thing. I mean, it's just, you know, ridiculous. Hey, let me ask you this. I know you know that the establishment down there doesn't want you in power. I know you know that. But Did you think it would get this desperate on their part to coordinate this attack from the media?
You know, everybody in Russellville knows that they want Breanne. They know that. I mean, she just got another $30,000 into her campaign fund that she filed on her statement a couple days ago, you know? And let me just say that swamp down there may be a little bit deeper than I originally anticipated.
So, it is definitely deeper than originally anticipated. And, you know, I've been looking at the Arkansas Times article here that they came out about how much lobbyist money. I mean, even the Arkansas Times, you know, they have reported and been critical about the PACs that, you know, funded your campaign. But at least the Arkansas Times has now come out and has said, but by the way, Breanne Davis is funded by lots of lobby money. Let's read this. Keep scrolling down a little bit, Joe. And her financiers include grocers, truckers, Stevens, Entergy Mobile Homes, a couple of PACs headed by lobbyist Bruce Hawkins. Okay, this is the same Bruce Hawkins that gave Jake Files $30,000 to cover a hot check. The nursing home lobby. So, I mean, that would be your, Michael Morton comes to mind, that sort of thing, even though Michael Morton is, you know, probably in a bunker somewhere. Scroll back up, Joe, because this is what I want to say. Arkansas Times reports, while Davis's money comes from the sometimes monolithic, permanent, big business lobby at the Capitol, then they say the individual PAC contributors are broader based than Bailey's singular patron, of course referring to Joe Maynard. Obviously, he's not the singular patron. That's not accurate. But while Davis's money comes from the sometimes monolithic, permanent big business, that's who she's supported by. And you say kind of everybody in your district knows that Asa and the establishment want Breanne Davis to get elected and not you? Answer the question. Everybody wants Breanne. Everybody knows that Asa wants Breanne. Respond to that.
Well, we've got a booth out there in front of the election center, you know, with it's just a little pop-up tent with some signs on it. Yesterday we had, 40 or 50 people come by and just shoot the breeze with us. Several of them told me, hey, man, we never heard you. We didn't know who you were. We never heard of you before. We listened to the news media, and if that hard against you, we voted for you. I mean, this thing has really been to our benefit, if you can believe that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, it's been amazing to me that many people have come by and laughed about this article, and they're like, man, those people are crazy. I think that most people with half of a wit can see exactly what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much everything that has come against us has actually turned to our advantage. I mean, I can't really explain it, but we're getting a lot of exposure off of this. Now,
I think, okay, we lost Bob again. Hey, Bob, when you can hear me, say something. You said now, and I wanted to hear what the rest of what you had to say, but I will add this, Bob, that, you know, when we're talking about the mainstream media, and people are now using the reports in the mainstream media as saying, you know, we want to vote for Bob because they're criticizing Bob. I mean, you know, Asa is really overplaying his hand here, in my opinion. I mean, just look at the opinion polls about how many people trust the mainstream media. You think all of a sudden Arkansas is immune from that? I mean, we don't trust the mainstream media, and the average Arkansan doesn't trust these mainstream media hacks. So, Bob, continue. You broke up. We didn't get what you were saying.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm going to step outside. I'm in a tin building. That might be part of the problem.
Yes, it might be.
Oh.
Maybe one day
Okay.
technology will catch up to us. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we've got a lot of comments about, man, you know, here I was eating dinner and Fox News popped out and it was all about you. And people have been coming by to meet me and asking me about this and going in there and voting for me. So it's really kind of ironic that it would be that way, but we're getting a lot of exposure. Now, I'm getting a lot of comments that are not necessarily so good, but most of them are from people that...
Yeah, it looks like we lost Bob again. Hey, Joe, about Pekin High School in Illinois, and they're using that as a reason. You guys are ridiculous. You guys have, like, absolutely no shame. Anyway, we're going to go to break. You're listening to Conduit News Radio, and we'll be right back with more Bob Bailey. Going to get a better connection. My apologies to all of our affiliates, but hey, sometimes the infrastructure, cell phones, what are you going to do? Back in a minute. We are exposing the truth. I mean, we really are. Can you believe that? We get Bob Bailey on and we say, the mainstream media would have never told you the truth. They would have distorted his words. We get Bob Bailey and he says, they didn't even do their research. This was the mascot. They changed the mascot. This was on eBay. It was posted to my Facebook. I posted it to my Facebook, these pins that now say something offensive because the mascot of Pekin High School was actually the Chinks. And now, Bob Bailey must be a racist. It is absurd. These people are such hypocrites. They want to take the moral high ground. Senate President Pro Tem Jonathan Dismang, the Asa Hutchinson Marble Palace establishment, they just don't want Bob Bailey to get elected. The special election is Tuesday. Joining us now, hopefully with a better connection, is Mr. Bob Bailey himself. Bob, this is the reason why ordinary people do not get into politics. Is that right?
Yeah, my wife warned me about this, but I didn't listen to her.
But seriously, if you've said anything at any time, it's like, okay, well, they're going to find it, and especially if you are anti-establishment, they're going to rake you over the coals, and they've used the mainstream media to do it.
It just shows how desperate they really are and how things really are not good down there. I mean, they're exposing themselves for what they are. I mean, they're using 6-year-old Facebook posts. They're taking everything out of context and trying to twist it to their advantage. And if you know the story, the more you understand it, the more ridiculous you see how this thing is becoming. Well, I mean, really, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and I actually think you're on the side of the people of Arkansas as far as popular opinion goes. If they just know the fact is like, yeah, a lot of people don't really like this editing of history, trying to sanitize history to not offend people.
Right.
It's not gonna solve disagreements by making the Confederate battle flag illegal. Now, that's not to say people don't have, bad feelings when they see it, but, I mean, you don't have a right to not be offended in this country. Then you look at the political correctness of those buttons. They changed the mascot. You were just, hey, this is a different time, whatever. And then you have the Pine Bluff meme where you're saying that there's a crime problem or in an actual comedic way about Pine Bluff. They get mad at that. Let's talk about the last one. State Representative Charles Blake. Okay, you had a post out there, or your business had a post that was critical of him after a shooting of 17 people in Little Rock. Talk about that.
I heard that he was proposing some kind of outrageous legislation.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was to register guns, to limit bullets. It was something along those lines.
To limit ammunition, and the mainstream media has left that part out of their reporting. They're just showing the post, and they're not even saying why the post was made, and it was because he wanted, in response to a shooting, basically more gun control, or in this case, ammunition control.
Exactly, and as you know, I am severely opposed to any form of gun control, and that struck a nerve with me, and that's what I'm pretty sure I wrote that. That sounds about like something I'd write, and that's just I'm not going to apologize for that. Anytime somebody tries to push gun control on me, I will stand up. I will fight back. I will let it be known that it's not going to be an easy pushover. Mm-hmm. My opponents give it lip service, but I've got the firearms industry business here, and I live it. I don't just talk about it. I stand up for it, and if somebody pushes on me, I will push back. That's just the way it's going to be. And if he's offended by trying to limit my gun rights, that's his problem, not mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the media is trying to put it out there like you're attacking him, but the reality was, and like I said, I know State Representative Charles Blake. I mean, I've talked to him at the Capitol before. He's a friendly guy. He probably wouldn't want to admit talking to me, but maybe he would. He's a nice guy. But what I'm saying is they want to say that you're attacking him. Well, his idea is attacking every gun owner in this state, and it needed to be called out. So my point is, on all of these posts, they have so overplayed their hand here. On all these posts, you are actually, if you know the truth, right in line with popular opinion here.
Everybody that I've talked to that read it just thought it was completely ridiculous, and they could not believe how misrepresented everything was. I mean, we talked about it all day. I had people I've never met come by and say, man, you're getting a lot of exposure from this, and because of this, we are voting for you. You're the kind of people we want. You're the kind of people we need, and that is what is scaring them to death. I'm not going to be a pushover. They already know that. They've seen me testify down there at Little Rock. I mean, I had Channel 4 and a couple other people following me out the door when I testified, and they don't like somebody. One of them said, you know, we need servants, right?
Yeah.
Somebody quoted
Senator Missy Irvin is suggesting that your Facebook post, or at least the media is putting it that way. Senator Missy Irvin is saying we need people to be careful what they post on social media, and which is probably also a shot at Jan Morgan, a veiled attempt to kind of because that's what they're all talking about, social media, because that's where they're deficient. And she said that you got to have a servant's demeanor.
That's true to a certain extent, but you have to remember, a servant does what he's told without question. That's not what we need down there. We need leaders. I'm not seeing many.
Wow, that's a good point. Yeah, who are you going to serve? Are you going to serve Asa, and are you going to serve the people? And there's a huge difference between that. What kind of servant? That's a great point, Bob Bailey. Hey, we got about a minute left. I'll give you the last word.
Election seems to be doing good. We've got a lot of exposure. Mm-hmm. I think this thing is not having the intent that they thought it would.
Yep.
We're going to go out there and sit all day long and meet more people and see them coming and going. And the election is the final election is Tuesday evening.
Yep.
I think it runs to 7. They've had a better turnout than they expected, so this is a big deal. So if you can get out there and vote today, Monday, do it.
Yeah, exactly right. Bob Bailey, I appreciate it, sir. Be safe. That's right, folks. The early voting goes on today, continues to go on in this special election for Senate District 16, and the final vote is Tuesday. I don't know, maybe somebody's been counting the early votes, you think? And maybe they're like, uh-oh, coordinate, activate mainstream media, attack hit piece. Have a great weekend.